Okay, welcome to this module. We will start with a key definition. Purchase management is a department within the organization. As you may notice, is in charge of the purchasing activities. Most of the important function of the department within the company is to decide profitability. All of the decisions, process, and finally purchases make a direct impact on the profitability of the company. Custodial inventory of all the things, good or goods that they're bought, is very important and have a direct financial impact in the company. And the third thing, most important thing, is that it's responsible to build strong relationship with suppliers, which has a direct impact also in the sustainability of the business as well as the profitability result of their decisions. And based on that, as you will notice, this department has an strategic value to the company, especially from my point of view, because it build a strong relationship with the suppliers, which is key um, stakeholder of the whole supply chain. So if we go into detail of their objectives, we can read that the key department spends low if they work efficiently and effectively. Develop a good of new vendors or suppliers is all the time looking in the market someone that can buy a specific part for a specific new products, looking for new suppliers, etc. As I told you, strategically, for me, this is one of the most important development of the good relationship with the existing suppliers, training and development of personal employees in departments, helping them to know what to buy, where to buy, at what time is better to buy or to ask for some specific items. To maintain proper and up-to-date records of all transactions, which is very important. Yes, as I told you before, it has a direct impact in the financial reports of the company. Participate in development of new materials and products. This is important. The input of the purchasing department to the development of the product, because it can identify or help to give ideas about what type of materials, when to buy it, what minimum amount, etc. To contribute in product improvement. Based on that, it has direct relationship with the providers. He can come up with new materials or something new that this suppliers has been development that can be an improvement to the products. It avoids knockout situations if the purchasing processes are handled well. And at the end, it develops policies and procedures, because this is a critical process through the company: when to buy, how, who approves the purchases, etc. So, based on this, what are the principles of the purchasing management? There are the 8 R's, as they are known: the bulk material, right quality. That's the main idea. In the right quantity, not too much, not too few. It needs to have like the right quantity to the flow of the processes, from the right source at the right price, always looking for economy and profitability, from the right service. The things are supposed to arrive in a specific way and time to get into the next phase of the process. Deliver at the right place at the right time, as I told you, the right mode of transport, the ones that make sure that the materials keep in the right way, with the right contract. It's good to have contract with the suppliers and with the right payment terms, those that has a benefit in the flow, cash flow. Now to the function of the purchasing management. The first one, to receive the purchase request. This is the start point of the procurement activity. Each unit, that will depend on the model of how the company works, but each unit will be asked what they need. So this department will be receive the requirement and analyze and start the next function, that is the review and evaluation of the requisitions. Obviously, all of these functions will depend on what are the specific policies from the company. But let's say that the purchasing department reviews the item description, what the department needs to, a specific area needs to buy, and in what quantity, can estimate the last purchase price to get to see if can find another supplier or a better price. What has been the consumption pattern in the last 3 years in the case that the item is not new, and when the material are required. All of these points are relevant to start the process and to handle the requisition in an efficient way. Then this department will choose the supplier, decide the mode of procurement, invitation tender to issue if this is part of the policy of the company. Then the analysis of the scrutiny of the offers, reply of supplier to the invitation tender and calendar offer, analyze the specification, price, and the terms of the condition, and then finally, when the supplier is chosen, it will do the order placement. There is the purchasing department, select the suppliers and place orders. Most of the time, these 3 steps, well, the first 5 steps of the purchasing functions are part of something that is strategic sourcing. So you can handle this directly, or you can handle this with a third party. Another function is market research and information. Is a good practice to have face-to-face meetings with the suppliers to get to know who is behind the company and to understand how these suppliers work. Being trained with the latest development related with the materials of the specific products of the company. And for me, this is really good, and there are events around the world that can help for specific industries, but is to get part of, get to know studies about new developments on production and materials and process. And this function is very important and should be handled in teamwork with the financial department. It's session, ensure that all goods are delivered before payment is made. This is very, very important because you need, before to pay, you need to confirm that the things that you receive were in the right quantity, quality, and all of the elements that were part of the contract or the purchase order for the specific items. And what are the stages of the purchasing cycle? There are 8 stages. The recognition of the needs should be direct requirement of a unit or something that the company needs for a project, or this area based on the cycle of the demand on a specific item, decide to buy in a specific time or based on a contract. The definition of the need, the selection of suitable source is part of what we have been talking before. Price and availability are determined. Purchase order is prepared and sent out to the supplier based, of course, on a specific agreement state between the parts. Acceptance of the purchase order that is obtained by the provider, then is to the follow-up by the purchasing department. And at the end, checking the invoice and approving it for payment, confirming that the goods were received. Okay, in terms of the first stage, there is the recognition of the need. This is important because you identify here what are the items that officially brought to the attention of the purchasing department. It has 2 parts: the issue of requisitions. This is a formal document that should be part of the policy of each policy and procedures of each company. This is where it's writing what the specific area needs and what quantity and for when. Then it will issue a bill of materials. This is a list of items that will be incorporated in the finished product that the company produce. So it will have identified which one of the things need to buy, and it will have this as a reference document to work every time to find out new suppliers, better cost, or better service of those items that are critical to the production. And then the second stage is the description of the requirement. It has 2 items. The purchase requisition describes the required item, in detail, color, quantity, time where it's needed. And this is important because it will assure that the purchase will be processed in the right and accurate way in terms of the information from order, and the requisition must include all necessary information. The good practice is to have like a specific form with all of the information that the purchase department will need. So every unit will fill out that form electronically or paper. So in this way, they will granted that they will have all the information and the purchases will be accurate. Then the third stage is the selection of the source. This is the identification of the good supplier or suppliers. Is important in terms of the specification and the delivery dates that were specified in the requisition form. Um, this is the point where start the development of the relationship. If it handles well, it will determine a long-term relationship. We will help to reduce the risk and interruption in the supplier. Um, this is a balance between single supplier and multiple suppliers. It will depend on the strategy of your company. Maybe have a single supplier is good in terms of have a long-term relationship, but in terms of business continuity, it could be a risk to have like only one supplier. And for another references, multiple suppliers maybe are difficult to maintain quality and help get materials at competitive prices. That's why it's good to have like at least 2 or 3 suppliers for specific items, especially for those that are critical. So you will get them to know that you are using different suppliers, so they will do their best to do the best services and to maintain better terms for payment, services, etc. There will be like a competition between them. Then the fourth stage is the determination of price and availability. You will find that decision in terms of the vendor catalogs or price lists that were available for the specific items that you need. Then you will negotiate. For this part, it's good to have like a strategic sourcing type negotiation instead of bargaining between buyer and seller. Thinking in terms of to find like terms that will help your company cash flow. Not only is the price, it's only the payment terms, discount for payment in advance, that kind of things. And then you will have like inviting tender or quotations that will depend of your policies and procedures in your company. You will define which one limited amount of which type of services you need to go like to a tender process, or which one you will handle only by. So, after all of the other stages are well developed, then you will finally purchase the order. This is a standard format document. Actually, it has a legal like importance of the contract. Well, you will compromise the quantity and the price what you be ordered to the supplier. Then your suppliers will be doing this stage, that is the order acknowledgement, that's the commitment that the supplier will be provide with the item as specifies in the quantity and price and time to deliver that are specified in the purchase order. And it will be the next stage, that is the follow-up. The follow-up is very important because you will track the promise of delivery versus the initial agreements of what was pointed out in the contract in terms that this item require a specific purchase contract. So in this case, a general policy should be established between the purchasing department. There is a special and responsibility in assure that the order that was placed processed by the suppliers on time basis. And in this stage, there's the last one, is the part when the invoice is checked and they perform the approval payment. This is very important in terms of controls because it will need a specific and formal explicit confirmation that the items or the service of what that was agreed at the beginning with the suppliers was provided in the right amount and quantity, and in case it's not, it should be addressed what is the procedure that the purchase department will be to follow up, to at the end approve some kind of payment, the whole payment, partial payment, etc. This process, the selection of vendors, is very critical because it's also defined in terms of the policy of the company. What type of vendors uh, is the company willing to work with? Um, where are their credentials? The history is supposed to be analyzed, and the purchase manager have the responsibility to get all of the information about all of these potential bidders, and the selection process, which is very important, should include or exclude internal suppliers depending on their uh, policies. Well, negotiation is an art, and it's one of the skills that is needed and should be present in the purchasing department. One of the goals of this person is to acquire goods at the most effective terms of the buying entity. Of course, without stressing too much the suppliers, and what is very important to get to know at the beginning of the sourcing process, the vendors, to know what are the limits in terms of giving you a discount or not, if it will affect the final service. The purchase agencies are typically able to decrease costs while meeting the buyer's own requirements. As I told you, this should be handled with extreme careful, and it will have like an incentive to work obtaining savings in terms of the, from a point of view, not only in terms to get under the budget, but also to get the budget and to maintain the whole supply chain. So these negotiations should be handled with good care. Uh, Bioanalysis is, let's call this as an key process from the purchasing department, because they will add it in terms of this is called value engineering. They will add more value that they already do in terms of analyzing the specification material, parts, and products to come up with cost opportunity reductions. This will increase the value of a product without increasing the cost, and at the end it will help to reduce the usefulness of a product. In something, come up with a new product with a new material that could be used in the company. This is a really good practice, and it requires a specific and very interesting strategic work of the purchasing department. From my point of view, it's very interesting where these people come up with new materials, new vendors, new technologies that can boost or improve the production of specific items, or replace a specific item and save money and are more value to the product. So this is very strategic area from the purchase department. And how it works. A value analysis team or committee task product has been assigned. They will start like define what function products should fulfill, and then the analysis committees will try to perform that function at the lowest possible cost. So they will do a comparative analysis between parts by each company based on the research that they that they perform, and then they will contact the suppliers and get another approach to value analysis, because for most of the time each supplier is always looking for the ways to do their things in a more cost-effective way, so that you will get additional information, proposal, change in materials, dimension, different things that could be more efficient for each part of the supply chain. Um, um, Also, there are different methods of purchases. Here are 6 requirements. Each unit asks what they need, and the purchase department will look, following their policies, what they need. The purchasing for some definite future period, because this is based on that the purchase department has the data or have been the consumption of specific things in the previous period, so it can anticipate and buy specific things. Market purchasing, speculative purchasing, contract purchasing, or scheduled purchasing. The last 2 are based on something that was already formalized in terms of strategic items, or something that is very important for the manufacturing in the company. When it's good to handle the purchasing according to requirements? This form of purchase is right when those items are not regular or common used in the production process, so it's something specific that is needed, so you will purchase by requirements. These items are not, you don't have inventories of these items. Then the only thing that the purchase department needs to handle is a record of the suppliers that are available and trustworthy to supply these specific items anytime during the company. On the other hand, the purchasing for some definite future period, this method of purchasing is generally used for those items, even though they're regularly consumed, but the consumption is, in comparison with other items, very low. So you will buy like a specific amount for a specific time. For example, this kind of purchases, you don't need to have an inventory, only anticipate for the time when these items are needed. In terms of the market purchasing, you can buy like smaller quantities or in an emergency without contract or negotiation. I guess this should be things that maybe you use one in a time, and there is some special sales, and you will take advantage of that. Take into account that it's not has to be like a huge inventory for the company, because it's something that you need in smaller quantities. Speculative purchasing, I guess from my point of view, this kind of purchase is like an one-time opportunity, and maybe that this purchase will be like something that will help you to get some advantage in terms of savings. So the items, maybe those that are needed for internal consumption, but the quantity should be much more than the requirements, so to take advantage of the coming price rise. It's not a good practice to have these speculative purchases only when the price is really attractive, based um, on the history of this item purchases in the past. But another cost that should be taken into account in this kind of purchases is the inventory cost. What is the balance? It's so cheap that also adding inventory cost, it should be good to have that to take advantage of this good change in prices. In the case of the contract purchasing, this is based or let's say in other words, this is the result of the work of all the stages of purchases. When you have a contract, all of the terms of the buyer, the price, the service level, how the product will dispatch, how will you as a company will grant it or will check that the product arrives okay, and all of the things are part of the contract, and then all of the other purchases will be issued, and the payments also based on what was established in the contract. At the end, um, this is a very formal way to handle the purchase. And when you purchase based on a schedule, this purchase is something that you were planning as the department need the items. The items will be shipped to the company. This should be based also in a formal agreement between the suppliers and the company. So this help most of the time to avoid like last time purchasing because they will, as I mentioned previously, they will increase in efficiency as a result in higher prices. Well, thank you very much. This is the end of the purchasing management module. See you in the next.